Hello and welcome to Renowned Explorers International Society. This is a game created by the people who also made Reus, Abbey Games. Reus is a game I would also highly recommend if you're into games in particular that reward you for planning ahead and have a lot of depth of progression. But today we'll be playing Renowned Explorers and I'm going to talk through a little bit of how this game plays. Now, I've already played this a little bit just so that I understand what I'm talking about when I explain things, but I'm still pretty new to it, so if I make any mistakes or if you have any additional questions, feel free to comment and other people might be able to help you and I'll follow up as well. So when you first start a new game, you'll be asked to select Discovery or Adventure mode. The difference basically is whether it's hardcore or not, where Adventure mode is a hardcore mode and if you die, you have to start a new game. Discovery mode is a little bit more lenient and allows you to retry. So we're going to go and select our crew. The captain has a special power, and a lot of these is not going to make much sense the first time you play, so it doesn't matter all that much. And when you first start the game, you actually only have 4 captains to select from. You can actually select all these other characters as well later down the line. As you can see, this guy says to unlock this crew member as captain, you have to complete 3 or more expeditions with this member. Um, so let's see. Yeah, see, I've played this Molly Jones before, so she has 1 more expedition to complete before I can select her as a captain. So each captain, the reason you want to choose a captain is that they have a particular perk that gives them a special power that your party will have. If they're not captain, they won't have this power. So I've already actually selected a crew for what I want to do this time, and I'm going to be selecting this Canadian Beguiler. So all these abilities that they have are actually going to help you in your adventure. Certain events are going to ask you to do things, and if you have a particular skill in your party, it's going to make it that much easier to successfully complete the task. I believe I had chosen Molly again because I want to unlock her as a captain. So up here, these icons, the sides indicates how likely your crew or how well your crew adapts to those situations. And it doesn't make much sense now, but I'll explain a little bit more when we get into combat, as these are primarily combat events. I'm going to just click here and go into the details of the character for a while and explain a little bit about that. This is a tech tree, so when they level up, you're able to select additional abilities. These are perks, which while they have a little bit of lore, sense of humor, storytelling, the base effect is actually that each unlocked perk will give you 2 speech and 1 grit, which are stats that the characters have. They all primarily correspond to attack and defense. There's also movement as well as a chance to dodge. But speech power and speech defense, attack power and attack defense, or armor, and these are actually just corresponding to each other, and abilities will reference one or the other. So in this case, this attack will actually deal damage based on your attack power, whereas Sadden is actually still an attack, and it will do damage based on your speech power. So let's just get started. So there you see our intrepid crew of explorers, and that is a nasty looking blade. This is it. You've got your Renowned Explorers International Society membership. Vaughn wants to make a big entrance and goes for an elusive treasure, a Viking ship. Rumor are that a boat belonging to the famous explorer Leif Erikson, I don't know if I said that correctly, is somewhere on this forgotten island. I'm just going to go ahead and skip the tutorial here. Let's go. So this is the map, and that particular location is our destination. For each space we move, we're going to spend 1 of our supply, and when bad things happen, we'll lose resolve. If your resolve ever reaches 0, the game is over, and you have to start over. There's a lot of UI elements here going on. There's gold, there's status, there's research, and there's insight. Again, the first time you play, none of this will make any sense, but once you get back into town, you'll be able to spend these resources to better your party. So here we see that this particular path is going to cost 1 supply, and so is this one, and it's going to take us to this location. There's something odd here, so let's check it out. So our little guys are going over there like ants. Your crew finds a great place to set up camp and rest a little. Let's do it. Your mixed crew keeps itself busy by doing all the things they love. Emilia looks around curiously while Vaughn writes in a little notebook. Your crew has well-balanced skills and interests. And so we just earned this couple of tokens there. At night, everyone sits around the campfire. They tell all kinds of stories. The stories were interesting and exciting, but the best story was, So usually what happens is, by advancing the story in a particular manner, that character's skills and abilities will come into play as to what effect you'll get. So let's just take our captain and have her tell the story. Bond told a scary story, about a group of teens explorers stuck in a Scottish Highlands manor. Manor? The crew was absolutely terrified. Bond is the crew's storyteller. After a remarkably good night of sleep, the crew is ready to continue. They're happy they got to know each other better, and they really know who they go to if they want to hear a good story. So it didn't really get anything there, but it looks like what would have happened is if I had chosen a different character who didn't have the storytelling perk, they might have picked it up. So this will get a status. So let's go over there. Some kids are playing medieval warriors on the hills, seemingly unaware of their homeland's rich Viking history. Amelia teaches them about the Vikings. The kids are impressed and start to play Vikings. They'll surely remember you. And so we got one campaign token, which will convert into resources later. So you can see here when I hover over it says you've gathered 2 campaign tokens, and each campaign token will give me 10 to 15 status, and that's a little bit of randomness. So this particular path actually costs 0. So maybe I'll go there first, because it doesn't cost any food. The crew finds some true Viking architecture, a turf house. Due to the lack of wood here, as it provides better insulation, Vikings built houses covered in earth. This house must hold historical trinkets. You hear a lot of noise coming from it. Let's enter the house. This big turf house is the clubhouse of the Viking Committee, a group that tries to preserve Viking history. They're having a good time with each other, but ignore you. Maybe it's because you don't look Viking enough. Well, I think it's partly because most of them have their eyes closed, only this guy's looking at anybody. Anyway, so a lot of these events is going to have choices, and the success depends on various factors. And as you can see here, when I hover over the tooltip, gives you exactly what the percentages are. And as your characters get better, they're going to succeed better at particular events. So in this case, I'm going to go with 57%, and this is going to bring up a spinner wheel, and we hope that we get a RE symbol and not the skull. Yeah, success. So she has been accepted into the Viking Committee, and we also learned a lot about Vikings as well. And so she says, of course, you're one of our Viking friends, they say. What are you looking for? I try to find the best I can give. Do we want a runestone? Something very Viking? Something they plundered? Or something that shows they had fun? Let's go with distant loot plundered by Vikings. I feel like that's something they would want to share. So he went away and came back, and he's going to give us something. So we're going to get a chance to get one of these things. Since the Viking horn only has a 10% chance, I assume that's the best item, whereas the rest are probably very even in terms of their base effects. So let's see what we got. So this is really, I like reveal effects like this. So in this case, we got something that gives 25 renown, which is something that is going to be basically our score, and then insight, which we can spend in the cities for other rewards. Here we have some tokens, campaign and study tokens. So I think that item actually wasn't all that good based on what other items I've seen in my other playthrough, but all treasures are treasures, right? So we now have 9 campaign tokens, so we're going to get quite a bit of status at the end of this. So I could go directly to the Viking ship, but I'm going to spend some more of my food and explore this island a little bit more before we go there. Are you, by any chance, renowned explorers? You see, I'm kind of a big deal here, and I would love to travel with them and part of their entourage, you know, to see the world. Yeah, why not? Join us. I can't wait. I promise to make your campaigns even more effective. So we gained a lobbyist. So it doesn't So if we review our entourage, we've got picked up a helper, and this lobby is going to give us +1 to +3 status from campaign tokens. And if I hover over this, you can see now that this has also changed to 11 to 18, up from our 10 to 15 earlier. So yeah, that's fairly nice. Let's check out this place. Now, this cultural challenge as a diplomat or archaeologist might be useful, and luckily we have an archaeologist. So let's go check this out. You find a local merchant who wants to trade indigenous trinkets with you. Making deals with international locals can increase your status and be profitable to both. However, anger the merchant and you're left with nothing. Looks like, despite the fact that Amelia had the archaeologist, it doesn't actually help with this particular encounter. So let's go with her. Let's take a chance. Yeah. And you can fail. I know it looks like I'm 2 for 2, but yeah. So the archaeologist didn't have. Now this is going to give us food. There's not much point in going over there since we're gonna spend extra food just coming back around. So let's go and do some research. We get 2 study tokens. Now we're gonna go there. When chit-chatting about the weather, Juan mentions the search for the Viking longbow. The elder man are ecstatic. A Viking ship on our beautiful island? Iceland is so full of surprises. We'll make sure to spread the word. You continue to small talk about the wondrous Icelandic geology in the long summer days, and after a while traveling together, you part ways. Okay, so we have 1 food left, so we should probably go ahead and directly go to our final encounter here. And the reason you want to avoid losing all your food is that when you travel without food, your characters start to lose stats. And I did that in the last game, and that's when I died because all my characters became really weak, and then nuns of guns actually killed me, so that was pretty funny. The Viking boat must be nearby. Once you get there, this expedition will come to an end. You can come back to this place when you wish to continue later. So this is a very nice feature. It allows you to bypass the final encounter until you're finished exploring before you come back, because there might be something beyond the boat that you want to see. So let's just finish it since we are out of food. The crew searches the hills and dales thoroughly until you spot it in the distance, an intact Viking boat. The crew rushes towards this amazing find. It will surely skyrocket your reputation. The crew is stalked by a familiar face, the French explorer Rivelo. Not a French person. Don't know if I said that correctly. He's the #1 most promising explorer according to the rankings. He laughs. Thank you, amateur. How very lucky you are to find this fine Viking boat just after me. Under Rule 24B of the Explorer Mandate, fellow explorers should help each other out, and I really need this treasure to affirm my #1 position. Your help will not be forgotten. Well, maybe. So we're going to try and say that it is our treasure. Most unfortunate. Maybe you should talk to my most intelligent and diplomatic scientist, Lady Cassandra Shafiq. I'm positive that she'll handle this situation with utmost respect while I take the vessel. Hello, hello, renowned explorers. Why such a hurry, no? Let's discuss this matter at an easy, civilized pace, yes? She's not letting you pass. Well, clearly she's trying to delay us while the other guy goes and steals our treasure. So we're going to start a rank 2-star encounter. These ranks basically gives you an indication of how difficult it will be. I find that the 1 and 2 stars haven't been too difficult, but the 4-star one kicked my butt. Okay, so this is now where the friendly, devious, and aggressive stuff comes into play. So each of these will give you a particular reward. Looks like devious is going to give an extra campaign reward, and each of these statuses is actually going to affect the way combat works. And so here this wheel will tell you that if the attitude is devious, then friendly attacks is going to do more damage. If the attitude is aggressive, and this applies a little bit both to the general attitude of the fight. Right now it's uncertain because we haven't established our attitude yet. Excuse me. As well as the attitude of the units themselves, which is a little bit difficult to figure out. I haven't found a way to actually figure it out except by trial and error. So each of the characters have 3 different abilities. They'll earn more as they level up, but at base they will have ability that corresponds to each of these types of activities. So there's aggressive, devious, and friendly. And all of these actually do damage. Spirit is the hit points of your characters as well as the enemies, and it's not really health, and you can actually force people to run away by, for example, terrorizing them or causing them to become too enraged or too sad and to run away from the battlefield. Now, the way to get establishing attitude is by using an ability. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my try on enrage on this guy right here in front of me, and this is going to create a devious mood on our end. And you can see that she's made fun of him or something. So now the mood is tyrannizing, which gives everybody 30 speech defense. Minus 30 speech defense rather. So this means that when they use speech attacks on us, it's going to be more damaging. This is because they're friendly and we are devious, so they get a benefit. And so by playing around with these sort of things, you can turn the tide of battle, and you have to kind of be careful as to what you want to do. I haven't learned all of these combinations yet, so I don't know exactly what does what. Now, if you want to try and change the fight, you will have to do additional actions. So here, if I do 3 aggressive actions, my mood will change to aggressive, which will counter friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and try and pull that off now. It won't happen this turn because I only have 2 more attacks left. Yeah, stab him. As you can see, they're kind of weak at the moment. Not very powerful. So I'll also use this. Oh, so that actually gave me 2 aggressive last time. And now the mood is brutal because it is aggressive versus friendly, and I'm actually going to get additional speech defense. So if they try to use speech attacks on me, it'll be weaker. So this is actually very interesting because there's a couple of different layers of things going on here. So she's now impressed, which sounds okay, but it's actually a negative. If once it's my turn, I'll show you what that means. So if you hover over it, impressed means that the character has been impressed or flattered, and their speech defense has been decreased. Now I don't know whether this is a typo, but you can see here up top it says 25%, but the effect says minus 25, and it looks like it's actually 25 as opposed to 25% based on this particular tooltip. So I think that's just a typo. So we probably want to try and keep the mood brutal because we get additional speech defense from that. So we can just continue to attack. Now I could try and go get the devious, but I'm already so far down the aggressive line that I'm going to have to forego this bonus. So we get away from the boss character a little bit. That looks like it hurts. In turn. Oh, she has an AE attack. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's see if we can finish her off now. So I'm getting behind her because, play a lot of tactical games, and generally speaking, you get an advantage if you are behind people or flanking them. Not sure if it does anything here. Actually, I do know Molly gets an attack that does bonus damage if she's flanking, but she doesn't have it yet. So I got 2 encounter tokens, which will convert into golden status, and sometimes also give renown. And as you can see, I didn't get anything else. If I had resolved this with devious, I would have gotten some extra bonuses. And Encounters also give bonuses to characters, so in this case, our captain would have picked up an aggressive bonus, which would have given her +5 armor and +2 attack power, and which only lasts for the expedition. That's what that expedition text there means. Barbarian, how dare you attack during a civilized conversation? People like you are the reason the gods left us. And so she leaves to follow Rivolo, who has already disappeared to the Viking ship. But while she was storming away, she accidentally drops a map. You left a cryptic treasure map. Its meaning is pretty cryptic. Yeah, that's probably the case if you have a cryptic map. So let's take a look. After investigating it, the crew states their interpretation of the treasure map. Let's go for the Viking treasure. Following Emilie's advice, the crew conducted research in the area where the longship used to be. The crew carefully follows the clues and bits left behind by history and nature, and managed to find something. A new treasure. We get a Nordic bracelet. Let's see what that looks like. We get 6 campaign tokens and 2 collect tokens? Treasure tokens? I don't know what those are called. And it's worth 25 renown and 1 insight. With this last find, your expedition still concludes on a high note. However, it's clear that if you want to be the most renowned explorer, you have to beat Rivolo. Now it's personal. So at this point, we're going to go back to town. I'm going to do some things in town and show you guys how that works. So this is a summary screen. It's going to tell you, how we resolved the particular expedition. We're going to be known as aggressive now. It's going to convert all our tokens that we picked up into resources. So this is our haul. We're going to be able to spend these resources in the city when we get back. So he's at the top of the charts, and we're going to need to get to about 2,000 renown to catch him. A magnificent job. The board of the Renowned Explorers International Society is impressed with your exploration skills in the Highlands. For this achievement, Chairman Pinkerton gives you an upgrade to your airship, which will allow you to carry more supplies. Very nice. We're pleased that you're aiming to become the #1 explorer. However, I wonder if you can beat the already successful Rivolo. We hope that you uncover many secrets in your endeavors. So there's going to be more expeditions we can go on. But in the meantime, so this is just telling us exactly what we can do here. So we're going to spend our research on unlocking technologies, insight on converting to other resources, status to buy more helpers, it's just like the guy we picked up earlier, and go to spend in shops with equipment for our characters. So let's go. So it looks like she has a level up, so let's take care of that. So she can get the Rogue Mischief perk. Do we have a rogue yet? We actually do. So maybe we want to bypass that. Yeah, so let's just continue down the Beguiler perk line. So she'll be a level 3 Beguiler, so if we ever need a Beguiler for a particular encounter, she's going to be really good at that. And here it shows you what additional stats she'll get when we do this. And she also unlocked a new ability, Deride, which is a speech attack that is 125% and will cause the target to be enraged. When they're enraged, they do more damage, but they'll have negative armor as well. And it looks like it will heal my character as well when I use it. That's pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to check out is research. So this is the research tree. It costs 10 to research. Some of these are locked because I can't unlock them until I've completed additional expeditions. So you have to complete 2 to do this. We've completed 1. So preparation will get us more resources from expeditions and jobs, whereas Chronicles will get us more stuff from encounters. So even though I fought that one time I was aggressive, I kind of want to try to be more diplomatic this run and try and get avoid encounters where I can. So I'm going to unlock preparation. This means we'll get additional study when doing study jobs with insight on the world map. So we'll be doing some insight things here in a bit, so I'll show you how that works. Tools of the trade. Start with an extra tool which can be used to enhance just on the adventure wheel. I haven't actually used the tool yet. Insight when you finish expedition. Let's go with the tool. We actually need 30 more research to get another item here on the tech tree. So let's go and try and get that. So these are the jobs you can do. You can either lecture in London, in Paris, or in Berlin, and you'll get study tokens here. You get these campaign tokens, and you get these collect tokens. So gold, status, or research. What we actually want is research. So let's go and do that. So we got 19 research from that particular activity. So actually, I'm going to check out the other ones for a second. Yeah, so we don't get nearly as much of those tokens, and we're not going to get very many of these tokens either. So let's continue with the research, so we can pick up more research and improve our expeditions. So now we're going to go back to the research tab. I can get more supplies, which means when we go on expeditions, it's going to be even more lucrative, or I can get more extra tools. Let's go with the supplies. Actually, we can unlock both. Well, now we're going to have a very successful expedition, hopefully next time, with all those extra perks. Now we do have gold and status to spend, so let's check out the store first. We don't actually have a lot of gold. I would have liked to pick up a compass or the monkey wrench, I guess. Engineer perk seems to be very useful based on my last playthrough. But we don't actually have enough gold to buy anything, so we're going to have to bypass this. Looks like we can upgrade the shop as well to unlock more items, but since we don't have much gold, we won't do that. So let's check out the entourage shop down here. So here you can buy lobbyists, merchants, and students. Students give you more research, merchants will give you more gold, and lobbyists give you more status. So looking at this, actually what I should have done was purchase the student first, and then did my job, because it would have made the job tokens that I earned generate more research. There's also an upgrade which allows you to pick up additional characters. There's also specialists you can buy. So I'm going to upgrade it so you can see some of the additional stuff. So specialist tab 2 gives you additional things. So do we have a tactician? I don't think we have a tactician. We don't have an engineer either. And so this guy improves your insight from London. So none of these are actually very useful for us right now. So maybe we should go back and pick up some helpers. So the upgrade actually unlocked additional helpers as well, which was the journalist here and the trader. They're both encounter based. So I think what I want is actually more gold and more status. So let's pick up a couple merchants and a couple lobbyists. Oh, the price increases as you buy them. Maybe that's not such a good idea then to continue buying them. It kind of wants you to spread them out. I still like the idea of the merchant though. So let's get one more, and then we'll pick up a student as well. I figure it's best to actually spend as much as possible so that the next expedition is more successful. And I'm actually going to stop right here, and we'll continue our expedition, the next expedition, in the next video. Thank you for watching.